So as she said, I'm Clara Jubete. I'm the coordinator of an association of 25 independent publishers in Spain. We promote our books, but not only. We try to promote children's literature and reading promotion through picture books. My colleagues here do the same, but also different stuff. So we're going to try to explain a bit what our projects and how we collaborate each other. So in my left, we have Justina Svensevius from Tiny Books. So if you can explain a bit what is your work with and how you promote children's literature through the picture books.
So I am co-founder. Good evening, everybody, first of all, yes. I'm a co-founder of a reading promotion program called Children's World. It's based in Vilnius, Lithuania, and we are part of a larger educational organization called the Center for School Development. In our work, how we promote reading is through literature festivals for children. We were the first organization which organized actually a literature festival for kids in Vilnius, in Lithuania, and I believe in the whole Baltic states region. We also do educational programs for schools. So we have a program where writers and illustrators meet with children throughout Lithuania and also with diaspora communities outside Lithuania. And we implement different international projects. And one of those projects is called Tiny Books, Tiny Books from Baltic authors, which I will be talking today about probably later.
Amazing. So we continue with Simone Erning. Mm-hmm. You can a bit introduce what your programs do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm Simone Emig. I represent an organization and a network today. I am representing the German Reading Foundation, Stiftung Lesen. We are a stakeholder for reading promotion and reading skills in Germany. We are working on a national as well as an international level with the network I will talk about on a European-wide. What are we doing? We contribute to reading skills, to reading promotion with programs. Maybe we will talk about that later. With scientific research, with campaigns, and with political recommendations. We focus in our work on children, on adolescents and their families who are disadvantaged in the access to reading, especially parents who have a low educational level, who are socioeconomically disadvantaged, and so on. In our work, we cooperate with a wide range of partners, industrial partners, governmental organizations, other foundations, and so on, also with publishing houses, a lot of them. And we also cooperate in the field of research with university institutes Europe-wide and all over the world. And we are cooperating with many other organizations doing similar things as we do throughout Europe, and that is the network, EU Read. It's more than 30 organizations exchanging experience, exchanging research results, program ideas and concepts, and so on. And maybe this will also be a topic today.
And we have also with us Dylan Calder. He's going to talk about pop-up projects.
Hi, I'm the founder director of Pop-Up Projects based in the UK. We're a non-profit, we call ourselves a Children's Literature Development Agency. We do two things pretty much now. One is courses. We train people to become writers and illustrators and also to become publishers. But those training programs are people mainly for people who are excluded from publishing, so underrepresented identities. That means people of colour, disabled people, neurodivergent, LGBT people, refugees, migrants. So we're really focused on essentially outsider voices, and we have a number of big programs running in that area. And then we just started publishing for the first time. So we did our first 10 books last year and learnt a lot about how crazy the world of publishing and book selling is. And we're going to be going forward with that. And we're going to be publishing books by some of the best people that we develop through our courses. And I kind of say, now I can explain what we do in those simple terms, but we actually spent 10 years experimenting and getting money to just try things out. It's quite a lot of innovation. And one of those programs was actually with Lithuanian Culture Institute, which is over there. We did a really amazing project with the 3 Baltic countries that was an illustrator exchange across 17 universities and colleges. We published 150 illustrated stories by young artists on that program, and that program became the foundation of our main program, which is called Pathways into Children's Publishing. My point being that through that sort of trialing things and working it collaboratively with others, we've sort of developed our core model, if you will.
Amazing. So we have a bit of a presentation of all of us. Our key subject today is picture books and reading promotion, and I think we can try to explain why do we think picture books are a good ally to promote reading. I'm going to start with an example of a project in Album, and then maybe we can continue with other projects. So I'm just going to explain you a project that we did last year. Despertar la mirada al asombro, we also did a little book to explain it. And our idea was to try to bring picture books in rural areas, so in places that maybe they have schools with less children, and what they do in Spain, that's called centro agrupado. And usually they are classes with children of different ages, so maybe in the same class you will find children of 3, 5, 6, even 10 years all together, and they all learn the same stuff, and they help each other. And we found that picture books was a good ally in this area, because usually picture books are a book that you can read out loud, and you can have a lecture together with another person, and maybe the older reader can help the younger reader to understand something that maybe the young reader doesn't get it, but the other way around, because sometimes the younger reader sees things in the illustration that the other one just goes too fast and doesn't look at it. So we thought that the picture book were a good genre to work with them, and what we did was to teach them the idea that picture books need to be read calmly. You need to take your time, look at the illustrations, and see every little detail on them. And with this idea of just like stopping and seeing the things quietly, we wanted them to look around and see the territory that surrounds them with these same eyes. So look at the forest that is in front of your school, and maybe look at it every day for 10 minutes and see if it changes. What are the changes that you've seen? Maybe there's some, it changes when the light comes from one point, or it changes when there's more wind or there's more cold. And we wanted them to take into account all these changes and all these observation measures. So we gave them this little guide with different books related to the territory and nature. They all read these books, then they choose one territory next to their school, and at the end they all did their own album, their own picture book based on what they were seeing around the school. So it's this idea of going from the book to the territory and then back to the book with their own literary creation. Maybe you can also share some experiences with reading promotion and picture books. Justinas or Simone, I don't know who wants to follow.
As you like.
Justina?
Okay, yeah, so probably the short answer to are picture books good for promoting reading? would be yes. That's more or less.
We are here
Thank
for
you.
that.
Yeah. There are two reasons, from my point of view. There are two reasons for that. One reason is the culture of visual culture that we all live in, and kids adore it. They watch moving images, they watch still images, etc., etc. And the other reason for that probably is because there is still story there. There has to be a story unless it's a silent book, but that's a different kind of reading then probably. So there is a story that you still have to read, alone or with somebody else. So having this in mind, we initiated this project, which is called Tiny Books. It first was born only in Lithuania, only with Lithuanian authors. And when I say authors, I mean both writers and illustrators, not in the usual English probably sense, only the writer. So there were several kind of aims behind this project. One aim was to foster collaboration, creative collaboration between writers and illustrators. Usually, well, not usually, but there are sometimes or often it happens so that a writer writes a book, gives it to the publisher, then the publisher decides who's going to illustrate the book, and the writer never meets the illustrator actually. So here they came together, professional writers, professional illustrators, and they had to create a very short story, up to 120 words, and illustrate that story. Another thing that we were aiming at was accessibility. So all those books, all those tiny books, and there were 37 of them in the original project, and then 18 of them in the international project between Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. They are all online, for example, at www.tinybooks.eu, where you can go and download them, all of them. If you want to, you can download, print them out, and then, so that's the second thing, accessibility, so that everybody can have access to them. And the third thing was the magic that all children love. And the magic is that this A4 paper, you fold it, you fold all the 8 little pages that there are in the tiny book, and then you have the magical thing of turning it into a small book. Kids love it because they can easily read the story. It's not a long story, so they have this sense of achievement that they can do it. They're all, I will later give them to you. They're all in different styles, and the stories are all different. Some of them are about empowerment. For example, this story is about a girl who wanted to become a pilot, so she asked her father to help her build a plane, which is actually a story based on a real life story. There is this girl living in the United States, so she wanted, etc., etc. And there are some of the biggest names in the Baltic states, illustration and writing scene involved in this project. Elina Braslina, Elina Itagaki, and many others. What else should I say? Yeah, so kids like, also for parents. Yeah, that's another thing, also about accessibility and how books can always be with you. So you print out, 10 of them, you fold them, and they take up a space of like this. You put them in your bag, and when you travel with a kid, and they say, oh, remember I wanted to read that story again, you take out and you read. And another thing is that kids can build their own library, which some of the research say is very important for reading promotion when you have your own tiny book set somewhere in your room, and you can always reach out to it. So tinybooks.eu. They are, yes, it's very important. I forgot, very important. So in the framework of that Baltic States project, those 18 tiny books, they were translated into now 14 languages probably, including English, German, Spanish, French, Polish, and Ukrainian. I have here Ukrainian tiny books. So yeah, even if you don't read Lithuanian, you are welcome to go there and check them out for yourself.
Amazing. Monica, you want to?
Well, yes. Also from my part, a clear yes to your question of if picture books are important in reading promotion. Why is that the case? We know about the importance of reading together, of telling stories, looking at pictures together, looking at pictures. We know about the importance of reading aloud for language acquisition, for first steps into reading, knowing how a book functions and things like that. And for all that, picture books are the first and the most important tools in the early childhood. We also know, also from our own research, that the probability that parents read aloud to their children increases with book gifts. We know in Germany we have in about 1/3 of the families with children between 1 and 8, parents do not or only rarely read aloud. And this is why we want to increase this share of parents reading aloud to their children regularly. And as we know that book gifts help to initiate something, to motivate parents to read aloud, the main project we use here is Lese Start. It is called in German Reading Start. It is a program originally initiated in the UK by the Book Trust. It is called Book Start there. We in Germany do something very similar as it is in the original program. We have 3 times a book gift for children and their families. It's with 1 year and with 2 years, they get the book by the pediatrician in a regular checkup they have within this age. And the third book gift they get